What's up, everybody? This is DJ Unprotected, and you are tuned into The Output. This is a podcast about fashion, pop culture, music, and some other goodies to enhance your day. This is episode 29, and I love 29. 29 is so cool. It is one of my favorite numbers whenever I go to any type of casino, specifically, definitely Vegas, but I go to the roulette table and I often play 29. 29 has definitely served me well in some experiences. There was a particular one. I went on a trip out there with, it was an Aztec Nation trip. We had to handle some business in LA, and then we went to Vegas, and it ended up being on my birthday. Now, I wasn't 29 or anything, but I kept playing specific numbers, 19, 32, and 29. I kept playing 29 all night, and it was like up and down. I was like started with like $60, and at one point I was up several hundred, up to like $400 or $500. And I was just playing on a $15-$20 table, so right, not a huge deal. But when I was up to like $400 or $500, and then I went down to like my last like $25, and I was like, oh shit, that's it, I'm about to be down and out. So I put the rest of my chips on 29, and it was this French dude who was also at the table, and he's looking at me like, okay, you have been playing that number all night. And I was like, yeah, but it hasn't been hitting, so if it's going to hit, it's got to be now. And it was funny because he all of a sudden put a bunch of chips on there. You know what I'm saying? So we just had a tower of chips, and I'll tell you what, I hit it, and it was great. I mean, you guys could do the math. I think I put down I didn't put all my chips, but I think I put at least the minimum. I think it was a 15 minimum table, but I put them all on that, and then it was pretty good. So won some money, celebrating, and my dumb ass, because I was drunk and it was like 3 a.m, I decided to buy drinks for everybody around the table, and there was a lot of people there. There was a couple of the roulette tables, but I mean, if you're playing, you're getting free drinks anyway, but I bought everyone drinks, and they were like, hey, it's late, and they comped me a room at the Pink Flamingo. So it was a good story. So 29, I'm telling you, is legit. All right. And so I'm excited that here we are, episode 29. We're at, 2021. Last year we were like, okay, well, 2020, there's no, we had a pandemic. I mean, we're still going through it, but it hit us pretty hard that, during last year. And we're like, okay, 2021 is going to be better. And then here we are starting with a whole bunch of drama. Now, I do want to say that, look, I'm not a political podcast. I'm not here to to get on political rants, to place any type of opinions like that. Honestly, we know a lot of things have happened this week, but I want to say that this type of podcast, we err on the sides of entertainment, keeping things fun, trying to be inspiring, intriguing, motivational. And so I'm not going to get on here and talk about anything that could lead into thoughts of negativity or expressions in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously what's been happening can, bring out a lot of emotions, anger, whatever people may be looking at it, excitement, however it may be. So we're not going to get into that thing, but I will say this, that if you find yourself in a situation, okay, and you have a couple options of either being right or being kind, I hope that you choose to be kind, because at the end of the day, where does proving to be right really get us? Whether it's arguing with friends, trying to prove yourself at work, whatever it may be. But if you could choose to be kind, that one usually plays out more in the long run, all right? I'm not trying to get preachy with you guys, but that's what I'm hoping for. Choose to be kind, okay? So listen, this week's, plan to satisfy your ears, and we're going to change this up every week, that spicing up the show and avoid, obviously breaking radio's number one rule of silence. Every time I take a drink, you're going to hear this. And I think it's a little appropriate, right? Because when you're drinking, it's enhancing the moment. And I've got some spiked tea, so this isn't whatever. This is chamomile tea with a little hint of whiskey. Why not? So every time I take a drink now, it's a little too hot for me right now to take a drink, but that's the sound you're going to hear throughout the show. You're welcome. I know it's a good time. Okay. So each week on the show, I offer an intriguing question, and we do this so that way you can get away from small talk with your friends, family, and coworkers. Man, majority of people don't enjoy small talk. Shit's lame, right? So maybe you could take these questions and spark an interesting you can spark an interesting conversation with people around you, right? No pressure to do so. All I'm saying is like switch up the game, but we're going to bring it on the show. So this week's intriguing question is, if you could trade 1 year of your life for $30,000, how many years would you trade in? Now, have you guys ever seen the original Twilight Zone? I know that on New Year's Eve ish, like Sci-Fi Channel always plays a Twilight Zone marathon, but there is an episode that kind of relates to this, and I cannot wait to explain my thought process on this when it comes to the end of the episode. So I will let you know, but again, one more time for the people in the back, if you could trade 1 year of your life for $30,000, how many years would you trade in? I mean, really, it comes down to how much do you value life and time, experiences, lessons learned. Oh, man, I definitely want to talk about this, but we're going to get to this at the end of the episode, okay? Because age is a piece of wisdom. Do you trade that? Mm-hmm. We shall see, all right? So before we roll into this episode, real quick, I want to take a moment and thank you for listening to the show. We are constantly growing our listener base, and we have our fans and our audience coming back every week, and we're growing that. So I want to say thank you for really listening to the show every time it pops up on your smartphone, your laptop, whatever it may be. You get those notifications. I want to thank you for that. Really appreciate any time you follow or subscribe to the show, comment on our socials, like the Instagram page. It really does mean a lot. So anytime you do that, I will tell you it is very much appreciated. But I just want to ask, if you got 3 seconds to rate this podcast on whatever platform allows you to rate it. Now, I learned this week that, I don't know, I was on Spotify. A friend was like, hey, I can't figure out how to heart your show. I couldn't find it. So maybe you can't rate it on Spotify, but what you can do is share it with some friends, post it on your social media, be like, hey guys, check out this show. I know a guy, you know what I'm saying? And he does a thing, right? We all want to know a guy who does a thing or know a woman who does a thing, but I'm a guy and I do a thing. So maybe you want to share it with some friends, but we're everywhere, whether your platform is Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google. Hook us up, hit that share button, post it on Twitter, whatever you got to do. Sharing is caring, and we all know that caring is important right now. So this episode, cool stuff, definitely entertainment focused. Talk a little bit about fashion because I had a fun experience last week going to an outlet here in Texas, which was a dumb idea, or I should say an absolute brilliant idea because I went on a Saturday. So depending on how you look at it, it could have been great or it couldn't have been not so great, all right? Going to discuss Wonder Woman 1984 and my thoughts on that flick. And music, Miley Cyrus is talking about rock and roll. I mentioned that she had her rock and roll project that was coming out, but now we got a little more in-depth view on that, as well as Adele. Are we going to get a project in 2021? We shall see, but we've got some more news and thoughts on that. And COVID-19 vaccine. Now, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the community, clearly the jury is out on if people want to take it or not. But I got my first shot, and so I'm going for round 2 here in a couple weeks, actually. And so I'm going to talk about my experience, what it was like, and then some initial thoughts on the viewpoint of it, okay? There's a lot of people who aren't medically qualified who've got a lot of medical things to say about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting, even at work or whenever you come across people, hey, but we're going to get more into that at the end. So let's start this off and talk about Wonder Woman 1984 and why I think that movie sucked, all right? And so what made me want to watch this, I liked the first Wonder Woman, and then when she was in the what was it, the Batman, the Batman with, I'm not a huge, I'm going to embarrass myself here. I'm not. Listen, I'm not a huge Marvel DC guy, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that they're either realm, all right? Listen, I'm just not like, obviously I know it's DC, okay, so stop talking shit about me right now. And listen, like, I'm just not that much of a, I'm not that into all of those movies. I haven't seen them all. There's other people who have seen every single Marvel flick and DC flick and whatever, two different worlds, but I haven't seen them all. But I did see the first Wonder Woman, and I thought it was cool how they did it. I like when they, create like those retro type of movies of like years ago. I just thought it was interesting. Like, there's a lot of loyalty in that flick, with their crew. But anyway, so I watched this one. Now, why did I watch it? Okay, so there was like a meme going around, or an image, that it was like a screen cap of a porn parody. Now, I haven't seen this porn film, right? It's not about that, but the porn parody of somebody wearing a Wonder Woman costume, and she's obviously not in a superhero position. She's like laying down, but you don't see much. Like, it's totally, you could post this on Facebook and not get flagged. That's what I'm trying to say. Definitely a PG-13 image. But it says, whoops, I think I downloaded the wrong Wonder Woman movie. And then other friends that I had commented on this post and were like, probably more entertaining than the real movie. So I was like, all right, so some of those, people that I've seen comment on this were very much like diehard, DC and Marvel movies. Like, they love comics and all that jazz. So I was like, let me see what this is about. Like, I mean, Gal Gadot, great, beautiful actress. Like I said, she did great in the first Wonder Woman I saw, and I heard that she did well in Justice League. So I was like, all right, let me check this out, right? It's either corny or it's not. Let's see, like 80s. Like, you're either going to mess that up or whatever. Let's see what happens. So I watched it, and dude, that thing was trash. Like, I was, okay, and I didn't even watch the full thing, all right? I got about a little over an hour into it, and the movie's over 2 hours. So I got over an hour into it, and I just was not entertained. And honestly, I only got an hour into it is because I was watching it while I was doing like step ups. I was working out. So during a 30-minute workout, I just had that on. I thought it would have been motivating and inspirational because that day I just didn't feel like, doing step ups for 20 minutes with a weighted vest on. But I was going to watch that, get some motivation. And I was like, dude, you were killing me. Okay. Like, what? It was just like, what is going on with that movie? There were so many, like, the cliches. It was predictable with, was it Kristen Wiig's character? You knew that she was kind of going to be the quirky, corny, shy girl that nobody paid attention to. And then all of a sudden she has this stone and she's looking better in dresses and people are appreciating her and all of that. And you're like, dude, come on. Like, you knew what was happening. And there was some cheesy guy who was like going to come in and he ends up taking the stone. And you're like, you knew that was going to happen. Like, they focused on him in the beginning. There wasn't even a surprise or how he was going to do it. And they knew there was going to be a moment of scandalism. Like, I don't know, scandalism a word? Or did you just say moment of scandal? You guys tell me. Hit me up on Twitter at DJ Unprotected and correct my ass. I'm in the mood to learn today. So whatever, it was definitely like a scandal. That dude was going to play that chick, and I think Wonder Woman knew, and she wasn't able to go and help her because she got distracted by, her boyfriend that had died in the first movie. Was his name Steve? I think his name was Steve. But that dude who had died in the first movie is now back, and that also confused me because it didn't look like him, but she saw him. But I don't know. But like I said, like, I'm not a comic buff or anything, so if you follow the comics, it may have explained like something about the watch and him coming back and them like catching up. And dude, I was like, honestly, I just started to lose interest and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch like Cobra Kai or watch Babylon 5, which I'm into. So anyway, Wonder Woman 1984 was not a fan. And now I know why people were like the porn parody is probably better. I'm not saying I'm going to watch the porn parody or not, but I'm just like, putting it out there that if you haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984, don't pay for it. Wait for it to come out for free, I guess. because it was totally not worth it. Dang. Like how they jacked this up. Man, it was so cheesy. All right, so next topic, winter fashion. All right. Is it important with lockdowns, and does social media still encourage people to look their best? So what I mean, like, is it important, you know what I'm saying, with lockdowns? Like if people aren't going to work, if they're working from home, if you only got to dress like top down, do you got to really be all dapper and, you know what I'm saying, like, I guess tighten things up and look great from the waist down? Like I know plenty of people who only dress from like top up, and then you know what I'm saying, they look great from like their waist up, and then they're just rocking some gym shorts down below, if that. You all know what I'm saying, if that. So, you know, I mean, are you going out in public? Is it worth spending money on like, you know, new gear, like new clothes to look good right now? It could be seasonal. Like some fashion like only lasts like a season, and then that's it. And if you wear it after that, you're kind of like out of date. So I don't know, but I do think that it is important to take time to present yourself. And this kind of happened several weeks ago over Christmas. You know, I was talking with my mom and my sister, and they were going to watch midnight mass. And we were all like, you know what, we're going to get dressed up for it. You know, even though you're watching from your living room, like why not feel good, dress well, etc. So that type of thing came up. But I think it's important to, you know, I mean, get some new clothes. It helps build confidence. It definitely like makes you feel better knowing that you're wearing something new. Okay, I think there's some type of science behind that. You know what I mean? How it feels better to just, like wear some new brands, wear some new clothes, whatever, whether or not you're flaunting it to the world. But also social media gives that opportunity to like rock new outfits. You could be hanging out in your backyard doing something on like a tea time Sunday, tea time Tuesday, or drinking some coffee Sunday afternoon, having brunch by yourself. But boom, sit there, snap a hot pic, wearing a cute outfit, right? If you're a girl, you rock a cute outfit. If you're a dude, you just rock something dope, right? But nothing says that you can't do that. Post a pic, boom, you feel good about yourself. People are like, damn, they're looking all pretty or looking all handsome, whatever it is. And then, hey, like instead of just hanging out in your pajamas and not doing much. So I don't know. I think it's important, but what was my take on this winter fashion stuff? So, man, and me and all my brilliance. Oh, man, my attitude. Hold on a second. I'm going to take a drink for this one. So it was after, you know, New Year's Day, Friday. I went Saturday. I was up in kind of close to the area where there was in San Marcos, Texas. They have outlets there. So I was going to go out there and, you know, get some clothes. I wanted to go to a few shops. I had some things that I wanted to get. I wanted to get some like accessories, like, you know, bracelets, necklaces. I want to hit up, get some new shirts, go to Calvin Klein. I wanted to swing through Gucci, and then Prada. But, oh man, it was just like, it was a mess because I went on a Saturday. Okay. And that's where I messed up. I also wanted to go to Lululemon, but here's where I messed up because the outlets, it was packed. It was after a holiday. It was a holiday weekend. I didn't realize it. You know, I figured like in the winter, a lot of people aren't hitting the outlets. You're not getting ready for school. Because when I grew up, we would go to the outlets kind of before school, but choose the time in a weekday to avoid it being packed. I wasn't aware that it's just like it could be packed on the weekends all year round. So I guess like I was kind of silly about that because I've been to malls on Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you just kind of deal with it. Like, you know what you got to do. But obviously, given the fact that we're still in a pandemic, coronavirus is very much, you know, still out there. Whatever you look at it, there are people still getting sick, and there are rules in place to avoid a lot of people being affected by this. So I go, and it was packed. But I always found close parking. And I say that because whenever I'm cruising somewhere and I'm like, okay, I need to park close, I'm not like, my first thought is, oh shit, I'm about to walk a long way. I roll up to a place and I'm like, I'm gonna find a close spot. And I do, and I found a spot like right next to Calvin Klein. Now, my dumb ass was like all excited. You know what I mean? Like last year, I got this Coach crossbody bag, and I really wanted to wear it. And so I was rocking this thing, and I was like, I mean, I like wearing it when you travel or go shopping. It's just easy because you can put everything like your phone, your wallet, everything's like right there. So I have my mask in there. So I'm like cruising up to the store and I walk right in that joint without my mask on. And it was completely by accident. I wasn't doing it to be selfish, to be more comfortable. I mean, I wear my mask wherever it's required, and this woman is like, oh, you need to put your mask on and stop being so selfish and whatever. All a bunch of negativity. I wasn't wearing it because I'm like, fuck the system. I wasn't wearing it because I forgot. You know what I mean? I was having like a really good day and I just forgot to put it on. But anyway, the store wasn't that packed and you can kind of cruise around and everybody was kind of polite about maintaining their distances or saying, excuse me. So it just felt cool to kind of go and get some new gear, but it did feel awkward because you're like, do I touch the clothes? Like, how do I look through the sizes without seeming like I'm touching everything? But there weren't any signs saying, hey, do not touch, avoid touching. I guess that's one of the risks you take if you're going to go out and go shopping, for clothes, like during the pandemic. But it was, at least in that store. Oh, there's more stories to come. I'm just thirsty. So good experience at Calvin Klein. Got a couple shirts, got some new chonies. Needed to, get some more of them. And on the thought of chonies, okay, so, which I always thought was a cool word when somebody brought that up. So, I had to get some new chonies as a dude, right? Some of the most comfortable underwear that you can wear are the ones that end up having like the hole there, like down there, like, you know what I'm saying? Below the sack, like there's usually a hole. It always ends up finding its way there. Like really comfortable underwear ends up having a hole in it. But sometimes that hole becomes an arch nemesis in some situations. And so you had to go, I had to upgrade. I had to upgrade and get some new chonies, get some new underwear. And I like Calvin Klein underwear. I like Tommy John's. Just, I'm just not at that point where I can just justify paying $75 for a pair of underwear. Comfortable, sure, but paying $75 for that when I can get comfortable underwear from like Calvin Klein or Jockey, whatever. Fruit of the Loom has comfortable underwear. Hanes does. I just like Calvin Klein. That's like my thing, but got that. So it was cool to go there in that store. So after that, I tried to go to Lululemon because I wanted to get some new workout shorts and a couple of shirts, but they had an hour-long wait list to get into the store. There wasn't a lot of people waiting outside, but you had to I think because of the whole dressing room situation of people getting clothes and having to go into the dressing room and to sanitize. So I did respect that business, because they weren't very busy inside. They were limiting the amount of people going in. But I kind of respected that they were like, hey, we're going to have a limitation here, given the fact we don't want to pack this joint and make people feel comfortable, because I like to think that a lot of people are going to go to Lululemon and try on, yoga pants, shirts, shorts, whatever, and try them on, because my dumb ass bought some Lululemon pants like 3 years ago, didn't try them on, and them shits is long. Like they are long. Like they're I'm saying workout pants, not the yoga pants, but they're long. I got the long instead of the regular, and I didn't know there's a difference. I just got the size that looked like it would work. Man, I should have tried them on. So I didn't get a chance to go there. It was a little too busy. Gucci had a huge ass line. I was trying to go in there and look at maybe a wallet, bag, whatever, check them out. Man, they were so backed up. I mean, that was probably an hour line to get in that joint. And a lot of luxury and boutique stores usually limit the amount of people that go in there anyway. There's usually not a lot of people in Gucci. They limit that. So now with the pandemic, there was a long line. Prada was really long. So wasn't able to get into those, but what else was I was searching for when I was there? I wanted to go find I wanted to get some, like I said, accessories. So I ended up going to James Avery now as a trip because they had a person outside of James Avery, kind of with a clipboard or whatever, but there was a lot of people inside that store, and I was trying to get some help getting some necklaces. I saw some cool things that they had, and there was a lot of people in that joint, so I'm sitting there at the counter, and this woman's helping me, and she had, And it's always funny. She had the mask and the face shield. And I get it. Like, I know that, you know what I'm saying? Add on the protection. It was just like, it's funny to me because it was one of the ones with the glasses. It was the glasses with the shield, not the ones that like, anyway. But you could tell that she was probably like really nervous of the whole situation. And then there was these like three young, I want to say they were like high school or probably college kids looking at stuff, but they had no respect for personal space. And I'm sitting there at the counter and I'm like trying necklaces on. And it was like a funny situation for me because I was trying to look in the mirror and there's like these four dudes just all in our corner. And they were like totally not paying attention to us, like being around them. Like it just wasn't their motive. And I think they were trying to hit on the girl selling them necklaces because, you know, whatever. But it was just different. Like that place was packed. I mean, the most packed of all the stores that I went to, they definitely were not doing crowd control in James Avery. But yeah, like the whole experience, like I probably spent more time trying to drive around the parking lot than I actually did shopping itself because I was trying to move to the different stores. It was kind of a nice day out. Actually, it was a really nice day out. You know, jacket, scarf weather, but man, like spent a lot of time trying to drive around and I'm willing to like do a shortcut or drive a different direction to get away from like waiting for people to walk a crosswalk. So I'm willing to like detour in order to like make my trip better, more enjoyable. But I don't mind. I know like you have to have patience when, you know, in situations like that, you're going to get frustrated because people are driving slower. You have to wait for people to walk across or to find parking. Like I'm not going to waste energy getting upset at that. I have in the past, but the truth is like, man, traffic doesn't care. Those people walking across the crosswalk taking their sweet ass time don't care that you're frustrated. They don't. They got the right to go. Now, as much as I respect anybody who's like jogging across, like knees to chest, bitch, like get your ass across the street, I respect that, but doesn't mean everyone has to do it. and on this whole crosswalk situation, it was funny today. I'm driving home, like I'm driving out of work, and as I was coming across, there was like a crosswalk, and you imagine like there's usually a blinking light, and it says like, you know, slow down to 5 miles per hour, but it's like one of the main crosswalk areas, so that's where everyone goes from this key parking lot to get to the buildings of work. Well, this shit was funny because this woman was going across, there was a car in front of me, he stopped, she like sprinted across this crosswalk. And I forgot I had my windows down. And so he started driving and there was a couple other people, but I was like, okay, I can drive. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And that's how you cross a motherfucking crosswalk. And I forgot I had my windows down and she stopped, turned back and looked. I don't know if she was smiling. She had a mask on. But dude, that was funny because I guess she heard me. I didn't really have my music loud. And I was like, hell yeah. Like that's how you cross a motherfucking crosswalk. Sprinted across that joint because a lot of the times I know that like people just take their sweet ass time at work when I'm driving there. And you know what I'm saying? I'm usually driving through like on the last second of the minute that I probably should be parking and walking into the building. So I don't have time for someone to like take their sweet ass time walking across the crosswalk. So I really respected that. But, you know, back to the topic of, you know, I wasn't frustrated about my shopping situation because families with strollers or whatever else, like I can't expect other people. There's too many variables involved for me to be like, damn, you guys are wasting my time. Like, it's just not it. Like and I know that I'm not that special. Like everyone has the same type of value to life, you know what I'm saying? And to do great things and however you want to look at it. But I'm not any better than anybody else to be like, why are you wasting my time by not, like, cool, that's your time to walk across the crosswalk. I would just appreciate it if you just maybe put a little hop in your step, but it is what it is. I wasn't mad that like it was a lot of congestion at the shopping situation for me. But it was fun. It felt good to go out and get some stuff. Also bought some new cologne, that Versace Eros cologne. Smells legit. I was like, yo, I want some new gear, you know, some new smell goods. Man, that stuff, I smelled it in a GQ magazine and I was like, all right, I need to check this out. Now, Versace cologne comes with its own price point, cheap, expensive, whatever you want to call it, whatever your bank account works for you. But I was like, I'm getting this thing, and had to definitely, it smelled really good. Went into the store. Now they were cool about it. They were like, had their minimal capacity of like only 2 customers in that little like Perfume Mania or whatever. It's like the Sense Mania. You know what I'm saying? The place in malls that they have where you can get like the good designer cologne and whatever else. So it was good, man. That stuff smells really good. I hope it smells good on me. I know like cologne and perfumes smell different on the individual based on like your own oils, shower, lotions, whatever. But man, I think his stuff smells good. So we'll see. You've only worn it one other time. I don't wear like that type of stuff to work because no need to really impress people there, but I do wear cologne to work. I'm not going to wear the Versace Eros, right? So shopping was a good experience. I look forward to kind of going back and in a month or two, maybe not to the same spot, but it's just fun hitting small town shops, and I get it. Like probably, it's not the norm. Like I'm a guy and I like to shop. I don't mind if it takes me 20 minutes or 2 hours. Like it's an experience for me and I enjoy it. So winter fashion, like we still have a few more months. There's a lot of cool things out there. Like, dude, Converse. Okay, real quick. Converse has some like cool shoe boots. And I really wanted a pair. They were black, but they didn't have my size. And the guy was like, man, we've been selling through these things. They look dope. I haven't seen them on people, but apparently they're selling them out. So Converse has some really cool, shoe boots out there. They're dope. So I like Converse. They're comfortable. So that's something if you like wearing Converse, check out their website or wherever you shop for your shoes and look up their shoe boots, man. Things are dope. Like especially the black ones. It wasn't like a suede, but man, it was fire. Like that thing was legit. So I'm definitely gonna be on the hunt. May order it from online, but I know that Halloween I had ordered some Converse for like my Halloween costume when I was a spaceman. And man, them joints took like they came after Halloween. So good thing I had another pair, but they came after Halloween. And DSW sent me like 3 different emails saying, hey, sorry, we're behind. Here's a voucher. So I don't know if I'm going to order shoes from them. I probably could. I could be patient. Shoes could come 2 days from now or 3 weeks from now. It doesn't matter. Like I'm good. Definitely got the shoe game covered. All right. Got a pretty good, I remember one of my ex-girlfriends was like, are you a shoe head? And I never thought I was. I just have different options. So it is what it is. But anyway, that's like the winter fashion. I think it's important. You should take time to like look your best, feel good about yourself. And why not? Like if you want to be frumpy, be lazy, whatever, be homely, then that's up to you. But I'm just saying like, hey, I have my days where I just want to wear pajamas too. But hey, it feels good to get dressed up, smell good, and whatever else. So do what you got to do. All right. This next topic, we're going to cover some music, man. So Miley Cyrus, she has her rock and roll project out. It came out, I think, like last month. And she's saying how like this rock and roll has really helped her stay drug free. Now, we all know that she had kind of some issues with recreational drugs and getting down and whatever she was doing to bring herself happiness. But it's weird to me that you would say like rock and roll has helped you stay drug free. Man, rock and roll, baby, it was sex, drugs, rock and roll. That was like the slogan, right? In the 70s and 80s. Shit, maybe even the 60s, early 90s. I don't know, but that was like the thing. I mean, when you had, like AC/DC, Motley Crue, and other bands like, man, Guns N' Roses, man, there's so much more that were like sex, drugs, rock and roll. MTV was constantly saying that. Like that was the thing. People were living the dream, sex, drugs, rock and roll. So I don't know how she's here like rock and roll helped her stay drug free. Maybe it was just a different type of form of expression, how she wanted, maybe it was just the attitude of it. Like, I don't know, the focus of it, different type of project. It wasn't so pop. It wasn't like trying to define yourself. Maybe that was it because I can tell, I get it. Like as an artist, if you're always producing and putting out a certain type of project, like how do you outperform that? Like if you put out a great pop album, the next album you put out, how do you outperform like your previous great pop album? But then you had Taylor Swift, who came out with like, man, when she came out with this recent project Evermore, and then she had Folklore before that, both acoustic type albums that sound like you recorded it in a home studio, like multi-million-dollar, like platinum selling project created in something maybe even less as like what I've got here. You know what I'm saying? So, who knows? She did it back to back, but I get it. So I'm happy for Miley Cyrus. I think her project sounds really cool. She's talented. She's got like one of those, kind of, to me, it's an energetic tone and like that grungy type of voice, like a little bit of rasp to it. Like she can have that in some of the tones and the way she speaks. It's definitely there. So I think it would sound good on a project, good for her. I'm glad it's just like, maybe this sex, drugs, rock and roll slogan is dying out. Like it's just not, it's not a thing. That was a thing of the past, like 70s, 80s, early 90s, I guess. Maybe all of 90s. Because I guess Limp Bizkit, were they sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Man, I don't know. So next topic on this music thing, Adele, right? Is she going to come through for us and drop her album? Now, a lot of people thought she was going to put out an album at the end of 2020. She's now single, right? We're going to get that single perspective from her. And I thought she was retiring. I know she had like issues. She had that throat surgery, years ago, but there was talks about an album coming out, and she hosted Saturday Night Live, a few months ago. That might have been a way to kind of reignite the here I am. Like, hey, fans, I still exist. This is what I'm doing. And I'm back on the scene. And dude, if Adele drops an album, like, it'd be great to hear. Now, maybe the fact that Taylor Swift, like, dropped that album secretly, Evermore, out of nowhere in December. Okay, there was no marketing for it, nothing. It just came out. Like, Apple was like, boom, here's this, unpromoted, Taylor Swift album, Evermore, on a Friday. Here you go. And it was like, dude, what? What? So maybe Adele didn't drop it in December because there was a lot of kind of focus and heat behind that Taylor Swift. I mean, a lot of people were writing, blogging about it. Shit, I talked about it. So, who knows? Like, that could have been it. But hey, maybe Adele will bless us with some awesome music in early 2021. Could be awesome. We shall see. I'll definitely vibe with it. All right, so next topic of this, COVID-19 vaccine. Yes, I did get it. I got the first version. Very fortunate to get it. I didn't ask for it. They were seeking names at work because there was the opportunity, and I was like, look, I don't want to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have any, whatever. Like, I'm a healthy guy, and mid-30s, I'm good to go. I don't want to take this opportunity away from anybody else who feels like they might really need it. But they were like, don't worry about it. There's a lot of people turning it down, and, there's enough to spare. So if you want it, we can get it to you. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's do that. I'm in. So I got the first shot, bunch of paperwork with it, obviously, because it is like only approved for emergency use by the FDA. So it's not exactly, approved for the masses, but got it. And I will say, like, I didn't really have any side effects from it. I think I was tired a few days after. My arm hurt like the first day or so. You know what I mean? No different than like the flu shot. It was a little sore. But, I mean, dude, I got so shit-faced drunk the day I got that shot, and it was completely by accident. I was hanging out with a friend, a small group of friends. We were safely hanging out at an outdoor establishment, Top Golf, if you guys are familiar with that, having some drinks, playing golf, whatever. Well, after we were there for an hour or two, he was like, hey, do you want to go back? My buddy was like, do you want to go back to your house, have some drinks? That was the same day I got my shot. Went back to my place, drank a couple cases of beer, polished a bottle of whiskey, and then next thing you know, like, he left around like 3:30, 4 in the morning, and I was hitting the rack. So I didn't get up till 2 in the afternoon the next day. I mean, I was off from work. But the headache I had was probably from the alcohol. And other than that, I didn't feel like shit. So it wasn't a bad experience. I get my second shot come up on the 20th. Yeah. So less than 2 weeks away. Going to get my second shot. Should roll smoothly. And that's it. And I know that whatever. they say, medical community says like you may see some more side effects or feel the effects of it, like maybe have the small fever, whatever it may be, after you get the second shot because your body's going to react to it a little differently. We'll see though, but it's funny to me and that when it comes to like this COVID-19 and the vaccine, you get a lot of people who aren't medically qualified who want to give you medical opinions and medical advice. And it's like, dude, what are your credentials? Like, there's like people just always want to tell you what they think they know about it. But if you're not like in the medical community, man, I'm not seeking your advice on this. Like, I was going to plan on getting it anyway. And people want to talk to you and tell you, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, I'm not looking for that from you. If you're not medically qualified, don't tell me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you, maybe you want to provide some insight like, hey, dude, check out this link to anything other than webmd.com or Wikipedia. Hey, here's something. Then cool, I guess like knowledge is power and it's good to inform yourself. But when people sit there and try to offer opinions on something or tell you what they think they know and they're not medically qualified, it's like, why, dude? Like, I don't know. And I remember there was this quote by, it's a leadership quote by John Maxwell, and it was kind of like, people will trust you. It was along the lines of, people will trust you when they know you care or something. Like, people will really listen to you. Well, people will like want to hear what you've got to say when they know you care. Because there's a lot of people who want to offer you advice, but you don't like, you're like, do you really care about me? So when these people want to talk about their thoughts or opinions on the COVID vaccine, they're more or less just thinking about themselves. Like, cool, man, you don't have to go and get it. But why you got to sit here and try to convince me on information and you're not even medically qualified to even tell me that? Like, who cares, man? It's my body, my decision, my health. I'm getting a motherfucker to stop trying to talk me out of it because you're not medically qualified. Now, if I go to get the shot and whatever, if you go to get the vaccine and you elect to like kind of meet with the medical professional to talk about it, to make sure like given your health status or whatever, that it's right for you. And then the doctor's like, listen, given on what X, Y, and Z of your situation, they maybe recommend that you don't get it. Then that makes sense because they are a medical professional. That opinion, their, medical opinion matters. Not some asshole off the street trying to be like, "Whoa, man, that shot's gonna fuck you up," blah, blah, blah. Man, dude, chill out. It's always funny to see these situations when people do that, but I guess like, so I'm not hypocritical, make sure of myself in these situations that I'm not offering advice when I'm not qualified to do so. But that's it. So I will tell you guys how, shot 2 goes in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to it. Slowly helping my body learn how to fight this stuff. My immune system getting ready for it because, could get it, might not get it. Who knows? But let's look at this week's insight on the intriguing question. Okay? Bringing it back for you guys. If you could trade 1 year of your life for $30,000, how many years would you trade in? Now, in the beginning of the show, I talked about there was a Twilight Zone episode about a guy who was willing to trade things. Like, he could trade things with people. That was like his gift, in the Twilight Zone. Oh. That was a cross between like a burp and then I took a drink. So, yep. So you got, that's why you heard that. But anyway, in the show, like that was his gift, was like to trade things with people when it came to traits. So he could trade age, he could trade like characteristics with people, he could trade, attitude, whatever it may be. He could trade anything, but he would obviously get paid for it. So like he traded his youth to some old man for like a lot of money, like a loft apartment, millions of dollars. Like he did that, but then he wanted some age back. So he was like trading with some young people. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, because he traded like some years with some younger people, and you could tell initially they were like, no, I don't want to trade. Like, I like my youth. Like, I'm 19 years old. I like my life. I don't want to trade a couple years for 60 grand or whatever you're going to pay me. because life is enjoyable. I'm learning a lot. It's fine. There's value to it. But then there was some other people like the elevator operator who obviously went from like looking young in his 20s to like now looking like in his 50s. Didn't have a problem, but his face didn't look so chipper afterwards. But $30,000 for 1 year, in perspective, like I could have probably traded my, when I was like 23 or 26 for $30,000 and not cared, because those years I consider like probably a wash because the learning lessons, I don't know if were really there. Probably wasn't really paying attention to it that much. Like, I don't know, but there's a lot of value to life. And I think years experience, that type of stuff is like, a great teacher. Now, if I were reconsidering it, I know those years, I started my pursuit for my music and audio career when I was like 22 about. So, man, like I'm sure I had a lot of experience, like recording, working with artists, and when I was 23 years old, when I was 26. So there was a lot of experiences there that helped me grow to where I'm at now. So I don't think I would sell it. I don't think I would trade a year of my life for $30,000. I don't think I would trade 5 years for that. Now, there's probably a lot of you who are in debt from student loans or whatnot, and you're like, man, fuck it, 3 years to clear out student loans or 3 years to get a brand new car would be worth it. Shoot, 4 years, get $120,000, get a really nice Tesla maybe, whatever it may be, pay off a house. Like I probably, if you were going to do this like me, I wouldn't go more than like 1 or 2 years, but there's a lot of value to life, the relationships, like the experiences that can happen in 12 months, the good, bad, and ugly. It's still experiences. Like when you look back in the grand scheme of things and you reflect on your life, whether it's a day, a week, a month, there's a lot to be valued. And I don't know if a lot of people put a reflection, sit there and reflect on what happens during a day and then tries to imagine what happens the next day. But it is a process, but it's kind of a beautiful, enlightening process when you can sit there and be like, what did I go through today? And then when you recap it, you're like, man, like that's an interesting, there's a lot of emotions that occurred in a day, and maybe a lot of the same emotions that you like to see when you watch a movie. But then here you are experiencing that yourself throughout a whole day, but only when you apply like self-reflection. If you don't reflect back on your days, weeks, years, I don't know. I think like kind of values can get lost, but if I had to, I would at most trade 2 years. That would be it. But I'm about to be 35 now, next month. And I don't know if I want to start trading away years, because now I feel like wisdom, experiences have taught me. I definitely don't know everything, nothing close to that, but I've learned a lot about myself, and I don't know if I want to miss out on opportunities of experiences for $30,000. Like you can make more than that on a job. You know what I'm saying? Like you could make that pursuing something else, but I don't know. Like that's me. I would like, if I traded that for like 60 grand, be like, man, like there's a lot that can go down in a year. Dude, that's a lot. That's a lot of time and experiences. So I'm interested in what you guys think. Hit me up on Twitter at DJ Unprotected. Hit me with your response. Shoot me a message. Hit me with a reply on this question. I want to know, and I'll talk about it in the next episode. I will shout you out. So whatever you want to do then, I got you. But it's definitely interesting. $30,000 for 1 year, and then how much would you trade? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in debt in this country, so maybe value to others. But like I said, I want to know at DJ Unprotected. Hit me up. All right, guys, listen, this is the end of episode 29. Super grateful and glad to be here with all of you guys. 2021. We got to be safe. We got to be happy, find our own ways of peace. But 29 is definitely a very cool number for me. Gonna play that on the Mega Millions and Powerball that our values are going through the roof. So good luck to everybody out there buying those tickets. All right. So thank you again for tuning in to the Output with me, DJ Unprotected. This podcast is presented by Aztec Nation. I want to invite you to check out another podcast from the company called Unrestricted with Ryan Johnson. Season 3 is out now. 10 episodes of great interviews with some very inspiring and successful people. So please give that a look. It's on every streaming platform out there. All right, so I hope you're picking up what we're putting out. We've got a lot to say. Tune in on your favorite streaming platform next week for a brand new episode. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be civil. We out.